I'd just like to have a brief talk about the way women are represented in A Wild Sheep Chase by Haruki Murakami. Just a couple of observations, really. Firstly, I notice how female characters are constantly disappearing from the text. They are either left by a main character, by one of the male characters. The male character leaves her behind, or they suddenly disappear in some way. They might leave them. The woman might themselves leave the main characters. Suddenly they've vanished from the text. The first case this happens is right in chapter 1. We hear the details of a relationship with a woman that at university that the narrator had about 9 years ago. He had a brief relationship with her. Excuse me. In the present, she's recently died in an accident. He visits her funeral. So that's a woman right from the outset who we get to know a little bit about, and then she's suddenly wrenched out of the storyline and disappears from the main storyline. And this foreshadows at least 3 other women who, in similar ways, are taken out of the main storyline of the text and out of the attention of the reader. What does this mean? Well, I'm not 100% sure. Think about it. Maybe write about it in your exam if you have any good ideas. The second woman we meet in the text is the narrator's ex-wife. I think we meet her in chapter 2 when he comes back from the funeral of that... Chapter 2? The funeral of that first woman we mentioned. Yes, indeed. Maybe chapter... Chapter 2, sure enough. The narrator's ex-wife, wife, soon to be ex-wife, is going to leave him. Although she claims, or there's a sense that he was pulling back from her, not in reality walking out on her, but becoming distant from her. And she will leave as well, disappearing from his life and disappearing from the storyline too. Another woman character that is left behind is the rat's girlfriend from the rat's hometown. The rat, about 5 years before the main event in the book, had suddenly disappeared from his hometown, which is also the narrator's hometown. 5 years ago when I skipped town, this is page 83 in the Black Book. 5 years ago when I skipped town, I was in such a confused hurry, I forgot to say goodbye to a number of people, specifically you and Jay and this woman you don't know. I guess I could probably see you again to tell you goodbye face to face, but with the other two, I know I'll never have the chance. So if you're ever back there, can you say goodbye to them from me? So there we have it. The rat's girlfriend was left suddenly. The rat disappeared, leaving her behind. And after we briefly meet her, she also, because she is no longer part of the rat's life, she disappears from the main storyline. She's mentioned again briefly at the end. Finally, of course, there's the narrator's girlfriend, the girl with the magical ears. She plays a prominent role in the text, in the wild sheep chase. She's part of the effort to track down the wild sheep. But just when things are getting interesting in the text, she just vanishes. The narrator wakes up one morning and she is gone. So there you have it. I think I've recounted 4. Is it 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 women who either leave suddenly or are left suddenly as the protagonist and the rat and other characters move on through the story. What does that mean? I'll leave it up to you to consider. Just a couple of other points. One is interesting aspect, I suppose, is how some of the women are represented through metonymy. The main character, the narrator's girlfriend with the magical ears, why is there all that focus on her ears? What does that mean? for me, it's something about seeing woman as magical, as being sort of somehow a gateway to the supernatural, or something along those lines. That women are seen as having mystical and magical properties. But, again, once those magical properties have been used to achieve a certain goal, perhaps the woman is no longer needed in the story. Maybe it's something to be criticized that the narrator's girlfriend conveniently disappears. Convenient for the characters, and maybe convenient for the writer as well, to suddenly have one of the main female characters disappear. The other thing which is interesting is the way women may be objectified in the novel, and by that I mean the representation of the narrator's ex-wife. What he misses and what he wishes he still had is a slip, some of her underwear. That's what he remembers when he remembers her, and wishes he had when she's gone. So perhaps that's maybe some sort of sign that, at least partly or subconsciously or something, women, when they're missed, are missed for the physical comfort, so to speak, that they can provide. So perhaps a couple of things that maybe, if you're a feminist, you might criticize this book for. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe some people could see woman in this text as being portrayed in a very positive light, that woman magically is a lot of power. Woman can be powerful in a way. I don't know. Think about it. Maybe it's something you can write about in your exam.